Now, that is the Log Explorer. So currently I'm on the Log Explorer screen where the system showcases that what different kind of logs. Currently, the system has collected this many events. Now, for specifically for Log Explorer or log monitoring and the flow monitoring part, the licensing is based on GB per day. So here we would be considering that how much amount of log would be ingested to system. Let's say from core switches, firewalls, DNS servers, the logs that are being ingested to the platform is around 1 GB every day 1 GB. So according to that, the licensing would go and pricing would also change. Okay. And yes, whenever we collect any kind of logs from the devices, the log count, we are specifically identifying based on the EPS, that how many event per seconds that system is consuming. Okay, according to that event per second, the GB per day log would be calculated. Now on the log dashboard, so as I mentioned that there are few settings that we have to opt for, either on the servers and application. We have done the if at all we have installed the agent, those agents will directly forward the logs to the system. Other than that, there are many type of log parsers available. Okay, so when we go to log parser library, which is again in the admin part of the platform, here there are n number of parsers that are written in backend by our team. Okay, so let's say there are Apache access logs, so their parser is already available. Now, when we say Windows Server log, so their parser is already available. So the system is parsing all this type of logs by using these parsers, which are inbuilt with the system. And one more thing over this, that specifically for catering any type of log with the system, because this is an unified platform, as we mentioned. So to cater any different kind any different kind of logs to the system, okay, the customers, they themselves can also create parser of their own. They can add a sample log file over here and they can parse any different kind of log. All these are the supported device types according to which for logs can be forwarded to the system. And with that parser, the system will try capturing different details from those log. So again, going back to the Log Explorer dashboard. So here, as we can see that there are multiple firewalls which are generating logs. There are Windows machines. There are Linux devices plus switches. Now, there is also one of the other type of log that system carries that I would highlight when we go for that. So let's say when we go for Fortinet traffic log. So here, what system will do is, as system has already system already has the parser available for Fortinet firewall, it will start parsing the log based on that specific parser. It will showcase entire log timestamp wise. We can see that, okay, this is an entire parsed log, that okay, this is a source, event source. Over this port they are communicating what is the destination city, what is the source city, over which protocol they are communicating, how many services are running, entire log. So entire log is parsed over here in this format. Now here again on the log side, we have a feature called as surrounding events, specifically for any error logs. If at all we have identified any error log the system has identified, then the network admins, they can always view the surrounding events to that specific log. How the surrounding events feature would help them, that system will capture all the to that to that specific error log, system would capture all the events 5 minutes before to that specific log and 5 minutes after to that specific log. And system will give you that, okay, because of this many events, this specific error log might have been generated. So any log, we can view the surrounding events to that specific log and system will do that part for us. Okay. We can also see the entire raw log as well. Okay, this is how the entire raw log looks like. Now, moving on, this was about the surrounding events and what different type of logs. Now, as I mentioned that we have a start live trial functionality as well. Okay, wherein any logs that are ingested to the system, we can always start the live trials for them. Okay, We can start the live trials. We can add as many as devices we want. And with that, the system will give you all the live logs that are being generated on that device. So it's just like that we are currently seeing those live logs on that specific device. Moreover, on the log analytics side, this is where entire visualization takes place. Okay, in terms of how we want to filter the log from devices, in terms of how we want to aggregate all the counter events, in terms of if at all we want to save this analytics as the widget, that can also be done. Let's say, for example, we take up a counter event message, or we take up event source type, or any other volume bytes, or how much byte from source to destination, or how the log is flowing, right? So entire aggregation and visualization part can be done through here. Okay, this is one of the Fortinet traffic destination country. So it showcases that okay, to which country how much specific logs are being sent. So it gives us the entire graph for that. We can also do it according to different sources. We can also do it according to different groups. We can aggregate them. Then we can always result them by device types. We can result them by any of the KPIs that we are looking at. Okay, so it's the part of visualization that the system would be doing. Okay, for any type of log, we just have to save those aggregations as widgets to the system, and that would be available on the dashboard part of the system. Okay, so this entire analytics part would be covered under the log side. Now, again, going back to the settings part here, when we go to the log, yes, when we go to the log settings, firstly it will give us all the log inventory, that from which systems currently the system is getting or system is fetching different type of logs. So here we can see that, okay, there are Windows machines, there are firewalls, there are other devices from which we are getting sys logs, event logs, audit logs, and all the things. Okay, same way, if at all we want to have a specific device added from which we want to fetch the logs, that can also be defined under the log inventory itself. Okay, and we can select that, okay, this is an Nginx log, or let's say SonicWall firewall log, right? And from this specific group we want to capture the logs, and in from which time zone, that can also be done. Okay, so the parser is assigned, the source IP is assigned, or a range is assigned. According to it, the system will start fetching the logs from the devices. Now there is only one thing we just need to mention, that over which port the logs would be forwarded. That's it. Or any or in case of agents as well, agent itself will forward logs to the system. Okay. So, and lastly, the log parser library. So as I already mentioned, that for any such type of devices which are not, whose parsers are not there with the system, we can always define different parsers for those type of logs, and using those parsers, the system will start parsing logs from those endpoints. So here we only have the one of a very important feature left, that is termed as other logs. Now, many a times we have come across the customers where they want to just get logs from some of their devices which are not standard devices. So what we have done for that, so firstly, from all such devices, logs can directly be forwarded to Motadata platform. Now, here as we can see that, okay, from these two devices we have got the logs which is under other section. So specifically for that, with the log side, we can define a parser. So now the system will know that, okay, system is getting some other type of logs from this type of devices. So admins, they define a parser for that just by referencing it them to the other type of logs. And again, when the system identifies that, okay, these are the type of logs from a firewall which is not a known firewall. So now when the new logs would be forwarded to the system will parse them according to the parser that is newly created. Okay, so it's just that any kind of a log can be forwarded to the system. Okay, with that other logs as well, we can define a parser so that the system will try to understand that from these other logs are being generated from a specific firewall or any device type. Okay, just by setting them in the parser library. Once the parser library is done, whenever new logs are forwarded, system will automatically segregate them according to their device type. So these are the major highlights on the log part, okay? Wherein we can group them, we can see the dashboards, we can investigate, we can start live trial, we can create any parser for any different type of logs so that those logs can be parsed by Motadata platform, okay? There are many standard parsers available, but on top of it, any other things can be added.